All right. What's going on, guys? It's the
Hello,
Brothers.
everyone. This is
The Brothers. And it's
Jack and Will,
Jack and Will.
and we're trying something out here.
Yeah,
going
I'm
for a
actually really excited about this.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
We're going to go through a little music talk, a little album review.
And if your arm ever gets tired, I'll hold the mic for a little bit. But
We'll see how this goes.
we're going about this. Yeah. So, Jack, what album are we covering today?
Well, you see, my brother Will and I, we have a lot of overlap in our shared love of popular music. So today we're going to start off by talking about one of our favorite bands, AJR.
Yeah.
And their very recent album, Neotheater.
Now,
So
if you're a super fan like the two of us are, you might have socks. We got these socks hanging.
Oh, yeah.
I bought these at the Click tour, the
Yep.
second U.S. tour they went on.
Yep, which he went on without me. So
I did go without Jack. That was straight in his face. So I don't know if both tours had these socks, but I bought that.
Yep.
And then this poster behind is a Click poster. It's kind of blurry back there. But
we can maybe get a shot of that.
Yeah, maybe we can get a shot. But it's
Yeah.
really cool. I don't know. That was just a fun side note.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we started listening to AJR close to around the same time.
Yeah.
I think my story with it is you told me it was when the Click came out and Week started getting played on the radio, and you told me about that song and played it for me.
Yeah.
Remember that?
So, what happened? I remember this. So it was like probably a little over 2 years ago. I was driving around in the car with my love interest at the time, and she was like, "Oh man, Will, you gotta listen to this song. Like, it's super popular these days." She's like, "It's like number 3 on Spotify right now, or something like
how
that."
it comes about.
So she plays Weak, and at first I heard it, and I was like, it kind of sounded like a pop song, and I was like, this is kind of funny, but this is like a terrible song. Like, this is so bad. And that's why I ended up coming home and showing it to Jack.
Yeah. Because I remember when you showed it to me, it was like you led up to it like it was funny, you know? Like,
yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought it was bad, so I thought it was like funny.
Yeah, and so I remember you led up to it and started playing it for me as if it was like more than a quality song. It was good for a laugh or something like that. And then kind of as we were listening to it, like as you were showing me this song, I could tell you were kind of striking a balance, or at least that's what it seemed to me. Like you were kind of like, okay, this song actually, it's really kind of fun, but like it's also kind of funny, and like maybe the lyrics are stupid, but like maybe it's kind of good. Like
and then I remember, I think I just kind of like he was listening to music on a speaker at the time, and I kind of just snagged his phone and was like, "Okay, Jack, you're gonna listen to this song."
Yeah.
And I remember Jack was like listening to it, and he was like, "Oh, that's a nice key change right there at the end." And I was like,
change at the
I was like, you know what? I mean, I guess you're right. I guess it's a
nice.
bad, funny song with like a nice key change in there. So, I mean, that's kind of
really
just
nice.
our getting into AJR.
So that's how I
story.
discovered them. And then I remember I was on a train, of all things. I've been on a train maybe 4 times in my life, and I wanted to listen to some music while I was riding in the train. So I decided to listen to their album. And because at that point I did think that Week was a really good song, and I had gotten into it, so I went and listened to the rest of the Click, and I listened to the Overture. I remember I like to listen to albums in order, so I listened to the Overture, and I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't get it, you know, because I hadn't heard the rest of the songs yet, except for when I heard Week, and I was like, oh, is this like a combo of like, and then I started figuring it out, listened to the whole album, loved it. So fast forward, you know, we're following along when Burn the House Down comes out, and Will goes and sees them in concert.
Yeah, so actually another side note. I went and saw him in concert, Portland, Oregon. And so Jack's up there singing, and he was like, "All right, so we've got this song."
Not me, Jack.
AJR is Jack. So he gets up there and he's like, "Oh, guys, like we're gonna sing the song for you, and like fun fact, this song just dropped like 17 minutes ago." And it was Burn the House Down. And so they had been playing it on tour, and so it like had just released when they played it live, and like instantly I thought it was a really good song. They had a trumpet player there.
Yeah.
Is the same guy that's in the music video for like at least Role Models I know. That's the same trumpet player who toured with them, so
he's talented.
He's really good.
So fast forward from there kind of into this Neotheater era. We got 100 Bad Days a few months before, and it was interesting. You know, leading up, we got 100 Bad Days, and then Birthday Party, and then what was the other one? Dear Winter was the other one that came out beforehand. And I remember I have a pretty specific memory of listening to 100 Bad Days for the first time, because at this point I was, you know, a big AJR fan. I was really excited that they had a new song out. I thought Burn the House Down was great. It was such a good song. I really liked the deluxe tracks from the click. And this one came out, and when it got to the pre-chorus where it does the pitch shift and the 100 Bad Days, I was like, come on guys, like really? Do you have to like this is kind of dumb. And then, you know, it happened a couple more times and I was like, okay, maybe that actually doesn't sound as bad as I thought. And then it got to the bridge with the screw your thing, I was like this, and then it hits that like drop, and I was like, okay, this song goes, like this is great. So that was kind of similar to when I heard Weak for the first time. Like I thought it was kind of stupid at first, and then it really came around.
It's weird for me because I feel like the best songs, like some of my favorite songs, I listened to the first time, and I'm like, I don't really like that, and then I end up loving it. So 100 Bad Days, I was laying in my bed, just looking for like, going through my feed, looking for a YouTube video or two to watch before I fell asleep, and I saw that they released the audio for 100 Bad Days. I didn't even finish it. I listened to like the first couple minutes, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll listen to this tomorrow in my car through a better speaker on my way out and about. And so I didn't even finish the song. I didn't even make it to the bridge, which is by far the best part of the song. Really, the song exists for the bridge. But my friend, I woke up the next morning, my friend texted a bunch of us and was like, oh guys, the new AJR song is like so good. It's such a banger. So really I listened to it, and it got to the first time I listened to it, it got to the bridge, and I was in my car by myself, and I was like, okay. Just like listening to it. It was so good.
Yeah, it is a really good song, and I've really come to love the lyrics too. Like at one point, after probably the third or fourth time I listened to the song, I just went on Twitter and tweeted out something like, AJR is the modern day king of anthems. Like, 'cause I just listened to that song and I was like, this is literally just like an anthem, like for everyone in our generation who doesn't, you know, want to go to parties all the time and like gets stressed out and stuff. And
and it's funny because
people want to hear the stories of your bad days. I mean, like those are the most popular things to talk about.
Taylor Swift, I'm actually gonna look on.
Yeah, she put it on a playlist. And quoted it. And stuff.
Well, yeah, she quoted it. I'm gonna pull it up real quick so I can get this.
Which is very cool. Very cool for them to get shouted out by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so she made a playlist on Apple Music, and in the little description it says, maybe 100 bad days made 100 good stories. 100 good stories make me interesting at parties. Then she says the lyric of AJR's 100 bad days pretty much sums it up. Yeah. Everything that happens to us is just a part of a story we'll tell someday. That's really cool, and that was on AJR's Instagram. They were like, "Oh, hey, Taylor Swift shouted us out. No big deal."
That's sick.
That's
so.
Really cool.
Yeah, so what was it? A month ago that this album dropped, something like that.
Yeah,
it was in late April. And I will say, the first time I listened through it, I didn't like it as much on the first listen as I liked the click on the first listen through.
Yeah, I agree.
So I definitely I had that kind of attitude coming out of it of like, it's good. It was AJR. It had some bangers, but like it wasn't really the same. So how did that feel for you, like on release day, kind of?
To just like rewind a little bit, I'll go fast through this, but like 100 Bad Days, first song that dropped, I loved it. I listened to it like a million times, but like I said, the first time I was like a little skeptical, and then like it was so good. Like the epitome of that happening, thinking a song's not that good and then loving it, is when Birthday Party came out.
Oh yeah.
Birthday Party came out, I was like,
weird.
This song is weird. Yeah. Like why are they talking politics? Like AJR, don't get political. Like don't make enemies here. This is unnecessary.
You're on the come up.
Yeah, not saying that they made an enemy out of me. Like I'm fine with the song. I was just saying like, come on guys, that's weird. Don't get political. But I mean, I ended up loving it. It's got weird. It's got like the baby sounding thing. It's got the
really
old like in the bridge,
Yeah,
heaven,
the old, like,
everything is
30s
fine. Yeah.
singer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird. And
Yeah.
then the third single that came out before, and Dear Winter,
Oh gosh.
was immediately when I heard it, I was like, so good.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop listening. Like, I probably listened to it 4 or 5
Did
times.
you
a
just
day for,
listen
like, a
to
week.
it the first time, or did you watch the video they posted?
No, I didn't watch the video until like a while afterwards.
Because the first time I listened to it, I was watching that video where he's in the boat with the
guitar,
and I was like, oh dang, like this is kind
Yeah,
of a crazy
so-
song.
Initial reaction.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, unlike my normal, where it takes me a couple times to get into a song, I loved a lot of these songs straight away.
Yeah.
They're really weird and interesting songs.
Yeah. I think the thing that really bummed me out the first time I listened to the album is just the fact that there was no overture.
Yeah,
Which is, you know, I get that they're like moving on as artists, but I think the overture from The Click is probably one of my like literally all-time favorite just pieces of music I think ever.
Yeah.
Like in the top maybe 10 is The Click overture.
Yeah, and
just every time I listen to it, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, for lack of a better word, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I was going to tell you this the other day, but I don't think I did. I had an idea where I was reading album reviews, and there were so many people that were like, 4 stars, would have given this a 5-star, but there's no overture, that kind of thing. Like, I saw a bunch of comments like that. I was thinking they should release, like, maybe in a couple months, release a single that's an overture.
That would be kind of sick.
Yeah, or just like a mashup.
Yeah, I guess that they don't want to do the same thing over again.
Then it's like you're paving something new, but like since so many fans,
but you also give the fans what they want.
Like, that would be so much fun if by the time the album kind of is on the decline, you know,
that would be pretty cool.
Release an overture, just get some excitement.
That would be pretty cool.
But Next Up Forever is such a good song.
It is. It
And
just doesn't accomplish the same thing.
I still feel like an overture first, followed by Next Up Forever, would
have been
still
the same.
set up. No, I think it would still have set up the album
really?
just as well,
Okay.
or better. Like, I think Next Up Forever makes as good of a second song as it does a first song.
So, speaking of the songs themselves, hit me with your favorite from the album.
Favorite from the album, I'll say initially, my favorite was Karma.
Okay, that's a really good one.
That song's so good, and that's one of those ones that's just so interesting. Like, what an interesting concept around that song.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite is probably Don't Throw Out My Legos. Then Next Up Forever is amazing.
Okay.
Those two are probably my favorite.
Yeah, I remember on my first time listening through, easily my favorite was Break My Face. Like, there was no contest. The first time I listened through the album, I already knew 100 Bad Days, loved it. Everything else, I was like, every other song, I was like, it's good, but I kind of, like, my initial reaction was it's good, but I kind of wish it was better, which now I don't feel that way. I think these songs are great. But the first time I listened to almost every single song, I kind of felt like, yeah, it's good, but I kind of wanted more, except Break My Face. Like, I was jamming to that song from day one. I loved it so much.
That is true.
But now, after listening to all of these songs, you know, at least half a dozen times, I've kind of solidified my opinion very more, and I'm with you. My favorite on this album is Don't Throw Out My Legos.
It's just the intro to Don't Throw Out My Legos is incredible.
The whole song is
whole song is incredible, you're right.
It's genius.
I remember I was driving with my cousin, and I was playing Don't Throw Out My Legos, and the intro is super funky, super clean, like super good. But then it goes to the first verse, and the first verse doesn't like emotionally set you up for what's is gonna come in the chorus.
Yeah.
So I was just driving with my cousin. He had never heard, I don't think, probably any of the songs off this album, and he's like a pretty laid back person. So then the chorus hits, and he was like, "Oh damn, this just got deep." I was like, "Yeah, it did."
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I mean, what other pop song can you really think of where the verse is na, 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 like up here, and then the chorus goes down for na, 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 na. Like, it's like it's so different, you know, like it has a
Yeah.
different vibe to it than anything else you'd hear from these like popular bands, you know.
Mhm.
And it's so, and that really like hits home like the emotional like weight to it.
Yeah.
Man, it's good stuff. So I'm with you. That's my favorite on the album. Go for least favorite. Not that you don't like any of these songs, but just if you know,
I will
had
say
to pick a least
the
favorite.
song I've defended this song a lot because a lot of my friends are like, "Oh, this song's bad. Like this is the only bad song on the album, or this song shouldn't even be on the album," which is Beats. And I would say that Beats is like it's a good song. I think it's fine. I think
Beats is great.
I think it's basic. I think it's great. I think it's kind of basic, and I feel like when it's in with all these other songs, that's why my friends are like, "Oh, it's lame."
Dude.
But I love it. I think it's.
I
just think it's such a fun commentary. Like, would Beats by Dre pay $20K for us to say that they are great?
I don't honestly. For me, like, I'm just a chord nerd, and the chord progression on the verse of that song is just so unique, and like it's so like momentum pushing. I think that's a great song. I would probably go with Turning Out Part 2, honestly. Maybe partially because out of all these songs, it's the one that I don't really think is like fun to go back and listen to a bunch, you know? Like if I'm like just driving or working out or something, I'm not like, "Oh yeah, I want to listen to Turning Out Part 2, you know? Like, and I feel like a lot of these other songs are kind of like get me pumped a little more. So maybe it's partially that, but also I think that song out of anything on this album is maybe a song that was meant more to be written than to be heard, because if you've listened to some of these interviews, like it's that song has a lot of deep meaning for Ryan in the band is the one who wrote it, but to me, like from the audience perspective, I don't quite see, and like if I hadn't watched interviews where Ryan talks about the song, I would have no idea why it's Turning Out Part 2. Like it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't have anything to do with Turning Out from the Click.
I actually agree with that.
And so I think that's why I would probably
say that's probably that I would put in the bottom tier on the album with Beats, but
Beats isn't bottom.
That's for me personally. But I love that song.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really think about this until now, that I do wish it had a different name, because when I saw on the album that it had a song called Turning Out Part 2,
stoked.
I was like, this is so exciting. Like they're gonna, like, especially since there's no overture.
Yeah, I forgot that there was no overture. If there was a Turning Out Part 2, I was like, that's crazy.
I was like, that's so cool. They're gonna be going back on that song and like reworking it, but this is a completely different song. And I know that it has the part in the bridge, or maybe at the end of the song, it says something about trying to love how I turn out. But I mean, that's the song. The point of the song is not them growing up and becoming their own person. The purpose of the song is a breakup song. Yeah. And I like it on the album. I see what you're saying about you don't like to go back and listen to it. I sometimes do go back and listen to it just because, I mean, I think the emotion behind it just makes it such a good song. But I definitely understand what you mean.
Yeah, I would have to go with that, honestly. Like, and again, like, I'm not saying it's a bad song. Like, it's still, in a lot of ways, a pretty genius song. Yeah. But that might just be a little example of, like, expectation versus reality kind of thing, where I was maybe looking for a little more than, you know,
or just something different
to be there. Yeah. Good song, though. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, do you have any other kind of closing thoughts? Like anything else
like
you kind of want
in general, I'd say
bring up on this album? It's a great album.
I mean, I'd say
it's a great album.
Break My Face, the bass intro to that song is so fun.
Good. It's so good.
I'd say the ending to Wow, I'm Not Crazy, when it gets crazy.
That sounds like old AJR.
That does.
Like out of anything on this album, that ending of Wow, I'm Not Crazy, where they just go with the hardest synth they could possibly
They just
find.
go for it.
That's like pure old AJR, and it's great. I would say, kind of a shout out just for the fun of it, for the entertainments here, we're also big NBA basketball fans, and as we've been watching the playoffs the last month, they started playing the entertainments here at like half of the commercial breaks in the NBA playoffs.
Super frequently.
And so, we'd just be like watching the game, and then it cuts to a commercial break, and you hear that bling, 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 like the piano part coming, and we're like, is that AJR?
And even before that, like, it's interesting because Next Up Forever is like such a banger when the instrumental comes in at the beginning. And I'd heard that on ESPN going to commercial break too. During the NBA semifinals, but I either heard it once or twice, and I was super pumped. But then, like, ESPN got a hold of the entertainment scene, and whoever's in charge of the music,
they loved it
because it was like legitimately multiple times every game was the entertainment here for the conference finals.
It was pretty awesome.
One more thought I would definitely love to add. I listened to the finale like a couple times when I was just listening to the album. But then one time, I don't know if it was second, third, fourth time I listened to it, I was on the bus and I had headphones in. And 40 seconds in, it's got the intro, and then it like kind of drops into the
buzz, like the
it
radio
the
buzz
and then it drops, and it is so good, so clean. Like
that is one of the better drops on the
so good.
Yeah.
I love that. Like
the finale is good.
That makes the whole song right there to me. And like the rest of the song is amazing, which is even better, but like that one part just like makes that song for
the
me.
First time I listened to the finale, I definitely like that was one of the biggest ones on the album where I was like, not that it's bad, but it was just like a little disappointing to what I expected of it. But now that I've listened to it several times, it's so good. That like that ending progression that they do where just I think it's like a 4 minor 4-1 with like that's like this very like it feels like the end of like a play or a movie or something really dramatic where they hit those big chords and then it like goes out to that like radio buzz again. And it's so good. And the flutes at the end with the trills. Oh man, their instrumentation on this album is ridiculous.
I think
so good. It's so good.
Also, the way that they use like old microphones and old sounding choirs in
so
Next Up Forever
cool.
in the finale.
It's so cool.
I remember I've played a finale at like the gym before over a speaker, and I've heard people around me saying like it feels like I'm in a Disney movie right now, and I'm like, I'm sure AJR would love to hear that right now.
The one thing I have to say, when you just said something about that like old-timey sound in the first song and the last song, I have to say, they should have put that in one part in like another song. Because you know on the Click, how they had the overture, obviously had like, should I go for more clicks this year, or should I follow the click in my ear? Then halfway through the album, the click comes back in No Grass Today, you know, at the end, and then it comes full circle for Come Hang Out. They bring back the click again. So I just think it'd be really cool if like somewhere, I don't know, like just in like Turning Out Part 2 or The Entertainment's Here or some song in the middle of the album there, if they had thrown in like a bridge that used that kind of old choir sound again, I think that would have been a really cool just like continuity thing.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward, because I think it's apparent that the fans love the overture, and I think Next Up Forever, I think that the fans would say this, and I assume AJR knows this, that the song is amazing. The fans don't dislike that song, they just loved the overture. The overture on The Living Room is also amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And then Finale, I think, was as good or better of a closer than Come Hang Out. Coming Out's a great song, and like it works at the end, but Finale is more of like a, I feel like it's slightly more closure.
It's more final.
Yeah, it's like gives you a little bit more closure at the end. But I still feel like they could even go one step further, maybe
farther,
in the finale. I would love to see in either the first song or the last song, or ideally both, like as many tiebacks as possible without. Like tiebacks to the rest of the album without it getting old.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That would be like my final thought.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, just
Yeah,
great
it'll be
album.
really interesting to see where it goes next.
I assume if you haven't listened to the album, you wouldn't have watched this video this far. But if that's the case, go listen to it.
Go listen to it. I mean,
yeah, it's really good.
Very good. All right, well,
you got a closing thought?
Just that it's a great album, and
Yeah.
I love the instrumentation, especially on the first song and the last song.
Yeah.
Just how they use the flutes and the strings, and oh, it's so good.
And the vocals, the choirs.
So yeah.
And lyrically, so musically, lyrically, it's genius.
It's genius. It's all genius.
It's genius. These
Good
guys
job,
are in
AJR.
college, and they're musical geniuses.
Yeah. What can you say?
All right.
All right. Well,
thanks for tuning in.
We'll catch you guys next time, maybe with some more album talk. And
yeah, we'd love to do this again. So let us know what you think. And
Woo!
Come back later.
Nice.
Peace.